Yeah, the Hercules turbine is the biggest machine on site. We think it was developed in the 1870s at some point. The Hercules turbine very clearly replaced an earlier water wheel. There was a water wheel there. There's a stone chamber that you can see clearly was designed to hold most likely a breast wheel. And the turbine was retrofitted into that opening, and it ran the blast at up until sometime in the World War I time frame. Wallace claims that they replaced it with an electric motor. We've found no evidence of that electric motor whatsoever. There's no wires sticking out of the ground or no discussion of a substation, because a motor big enough to power that blast would have been a big three-phase machine, and it would need transformers and all that stuff. It didn't pulsate like the pistons in the pump, that it jacked up the output of the furnace considerably when they installed that. Now, of course, that could have been installed. Electric motor doesn't need to be by the dam. It could have been anywhere. So the Hercules has some performance problems at half throttle. What we don't know is in the Beckley application whether they ran it at full throttle all the time and it didn't matter, but the evidence that they tried to repair the vanes suggests that they didn't run it at full throttle all the time. It's called a cylinder gate turbine because the throttle body in it is a cylinder. The cylinder is raised and lowered to open and close the opening that the water comes in. It works really well full bore, but when it's at half throttle, it's prone to turbulent flow. And the machine that we have there at Beckley shows evidence of modifications made to combat that turbulent flow, because the turbulent flow would actually pit the metal out on the runner. And there are very obvious repairs to the runner in the Beckley machine that could have been caused by cavitation. There was a company named the J.W. Jolly Company in Holyoke that made that style turbine, but there's no maker's plate or anything like that on that machine, so we really can't date it. We can't figure out who made it, and none of the newspapers in that time period I mentioned, from 1873 to 1901, mention a Hercules turbine. They talk about work at the furnace and whatnot, but they don't. There's no article that says new turbine and stuff. Nope, no such article.